if you're on this line right now for the very first time, it's probably because somebody told you an insane story about making some ridiculous amount of money in some ridiculously short period of time. You don't really believe it's true, but you had to get on here just in case. I don't even know what story they told you, but I'm going to tell you that it's probably true. And I think when you really get a chance to see what we're doing here, it's going to make sense to you all along the way. So my goal is simple tonight. Answer 3 questions for you. Number 1, who is QTrex? Number 2, what is it that we do? And number 3, I think most importantly, why should you even care? I mean, even if we're a great company doing something awesome, why did somebody tell you you had to be here? I hope that I can answer all 3 of those questions very well. But at the end of this webinar, if you still have unanswered questions, get back to the person who invited you on, and they can clear up things for you. I'm going to give you that 30,000-foot perspective. They can drill you down to the granular details. So let's kick in. Let's get started. And let's talk about QTrex, 100% instant pay Bitcoin smart technology. Okay, we know right now on this webinar right now, we've got some crypto experts. I call them my crypto heads, right? We've got some home biz professionals who may have gone out and built massive distribution networks across the country, across the world, in different products and services. Some social media influencers that are crushing it right now on Facebook and YouTube and Instagram, etc. And then we've got some community influencers that, you know, maybe pastors, teachers, coaches, business leaders. All of you are leaders, but I'm sure all of you would agree, you all probably have different knowledge bases. So even though the crypto guys may understand crypto to the nth degree, maybe you don't understand some of the home-based business compensation plans, etc. Maybe you don't understand how some of the tech works, like some of the social media guys. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cover some topics for you. I'm going to hit some things for you. We're going to talk about smart contracts and crowdfunding and unilevel, blockchain, matrix, Bitcoin. We're going to throw it all at you because QTrex is an amalgamation of all of these things. Some of them, these things are going to hit you right away and say, oh, I know what that is. This is remedial for me. And some of them might be slightly outside of your reach. I hope I can do a good enough job tonight that even if a couple things I talk about are outside of your reach, you take the time to discover what they are and understand them, because if you miss this, you may not forgive yourself. Don't blame it on me. I'm telling you right up front, I'm going to go through a bunch of these things. I'm going to do the best that I can, but if you see just a little bit that piques your interest, get back to the person who invited you on, get the rest of the information, and hopefully we can get a chance to work together. So I got to start this talking about my man, Laszlo. There he is right there, Laszlo the legend. I call him Laszlo the legend because he is legendary for 2 reasons in this industry that we're about to talk about. Number 1, Laszlo, back on May 22nd, 2010, did something that had never been done before in the history of cryptocurrency. He actually was able to use cryptocurrency to make a real world transaction. He spent $30 worth of Bitcoin to get 2 Papa John's pizzas. It was a big deal. He put it all over the message boards. Everybody got excited because they realized for the very first time that cryptocurrency was not just a concept. It was going to have real world application, and it was going to be used as currency and money in the real world. That was a big deal. Such a big deal that Laszlo is so famous now because of that every May 22nd is celebrated as being Bitcoin Pizza Day. So that's the first reason why he's legendary. Doesn't explain the look on his face, though. Let me explain the look on his face right there, because that's not a good look. That's not a legendary look. Here's the thing I want you to realize. Back in May of 2010, 1 Bitcoin was worth $0.003. To put that in perspective, that's not 30 cents or 3 cents. That's 1/3 of a penny. So for Laszlo to get those 2 pizzas and get that 30 bucks, he had to put together 10,000 Bitcoin to get 2 pizzas. Well, for those of you who are not aware, 10,000 Bitcoin today is worth over $100 million. Laszlo paid over $100 million for two pizzas. Okay, every single year since Laszlo did that, every single year, right around May 22nd, some reporter, some talk show host pulls him onto a show and they ask him the same question over and over again. Why'd you pay so much money for a couple of pizzas. And every single year, Laszlo gets that look on his face and he says, because I didn't know. Guys, I want you to know this. My goal tonight is to make sure you don't find yourself being another Laszlo the legend. You don't find yourself saying, I didn't know. We are going to talk about why, if you understand what you see here, the only thing you should be obsessed with for the next couple of years is Bitcoin accumulation. If you get it, you got it. If you miss it, you're going to have that look on your face a couple of years from now. I promise you, because you're going to say, I was there, I saw it, but I didn't act. Now think about this for a moment. Back in 2010, Bitcoin, 1/3 of a penny. 2020, over $10,000 a coin. That's what's called an asset. It increases in value. That's an asset. Now that same time of the year though, 2010, $1 back then had $1 worth of spending power. That same dollar, because of inflation today, is worth only 81 cents. So the dollar went down in value. That's what we call a liability. Most of us have been programmed to spend our entire lives chasing paper liabilities, but the smart people right now are going out and focusing on digital assets. And if you think you missed it, if you said, well, yeah, if only I had seen this webinar in 2010, I would have known, you think Bitcoin is topped out, think again. The people who study this, that know what this is all about, they believe that Bitcoin will get close to $20,000 this year, but more importantly, by the year 2030 will be almost $400,000. That's a conservative estimate. I've seen some people estimate that it will be twice as much by the year 2030. And all of the big boys, they're letting Bitcoin go mainstream. Companies like Microsoft, AT&T, Overstock, BMW, even KFC, they're now accepting Bitcoin as payment. Why do you think they're doing that? You think it's because they're crazy or they're stupid? It's because they're hoping you're crazy and stupid. KFC is hoping that a year from now, I've got you on a webinar talking about why you paid $22 million for a bucket of chicken. That's right. They understand the value of Bitcoin. They're trying to accumulate it as much as they can. If you want to trade in some Bitcoin right now for some chicken or for some phone service, not understanding how valuable it's going to become in the future, that's on you. But they're going to make sure they do everything that they can do to get the Bitcoin from your pocket into their pocket. I want you to be smarter than that. LibertyX, they're allowing Bitcoin purchases now at 7-Eleven, CVS, and Rite Aid. So now over 20,000 retail locations across the United States, you're going to be able to just walk in and buy Bitcoin. Again, you look at that, you look at the fact that Bitcoin ATMs are now proliferating all across the country and all across the world, and you got to ask yourself a question. Do you really believe that the people in the know, the power brokers, you really believe they're putting hundreds of millions of dollars into building a Bitcoin infrastructure? They're doing it because they don't know something and it's going to not be, it's going to just be a fad and it's not going to be worth anything a year from now. They know what's going on and it's time for you to know what's going on. And that's why we invited you on this webinar tonight to talk about QTrex. So what is QTrex? It's a global peer-to-peer community funding initiative. It's built on the Bitcoin blockchain. It's decentralized, it's transparent, and it's a smarter contract. I'm going to cover all those terms. Don't worry about it. But just understand this. Global peer-to-peer simply means this. A lot of us right now around the world, you heard it when Mark was opening up. There are people dialing in from all over the world. We are completely focused on Bitcoin accumulation. But the way that we want to do it is we don't want to send it to someone else and then hope and pray that they will then do what they're supposed to do and pay us out. Peer-to-peer means it goes from your Bitcoin wallet directly to their wallet and vice versa. So no middlemen stepping in the middle and messing with your Bitcoin. Now, blockchain, crypto heads, please forgive me. I know you know this like the back of your hand, but give me a second for everyone else. A decentralized distributed ledger that records the ownership and authenticity of a digital asset. It's simply a way in coding to make sure that you get exactly what you're supposed to get, that you own it, that the world knows that you own it, and it can't be taken away until you decide to transfer it somewhere else. It's secure, it's transparent, and it is unhackable. That's a big deal when we start talking about the digital assets that we're referencing. A smart contract is a digital spin on a traditional contract. Back traditionally, two people get together, make some kind of deal, write it up, they have to go to a third party, so a lawyer, a real estate office, etc., to help them execute it. The third party can be expensive, but they can also do some things where they don't follow through, and that can be a problem. The smart contract said, let's get rid of the third party. Let's simply set it up where we can actually put together a contract in code released on the blockchain. It says, if this, then that. It automatically happens when it's triggered, and no third party can mess it up, can't charge you in between, can't do anything to make that not happen once this happens. So it's automatic and it's not stoppable. Now, everybody told us that if we wanted to actually build a better company, we had to do it with a smart contract. They said, you got to do it. Smart contracts have so many positive. They're 100% transparent. They're peer-to-peer. That's right, wallet to wallet. So no one's ever going to touch your crypto. They're on the blockchain. We already talked about how powerful it is, and they're completely decentralized. Again, you're not sending your Bitcoin out to someone else. It's going peer-to-peer. It's perfect. But they had some cons too when we looked at it. We were trying to build a better company, and we saw that with smart contracts, there were also some increased fees. They were not developed for Bitcoin, and that was a problem for us because everybody actually wants Bitcoin. All these other companies operating with these other tokens, right? ERC tokens, for example, because that's what smart contracts were developed for. They say, when you say, how do I get my money? They all say, well, go turn it into Bitcoin, right? So we figured, why not just cut out the middleman and get right to the BTC? And oh, by the way, they're open source. Do you know how crazy that is? That you can build a better mousetrap, you can build something that everybody is raving about, and someone else could come along and say, I wish I had thought of that, but hey, since you thought about it and you put your code out there for the world to see, I'll just copy it and try to knock you off. We did not like that. We didn't like the fees. We didn't like the fact that we couldn't use Bitcoin, and we didn't like the fact that we had to show everybody how to knock us off. So we said, you know what? I know you're telling us we should do a smart contract. We're going to do a smarter contract. Advanced proprietary technology, providing instant peer-to-peer payouts utilizing algorithms of highly advanced crowdfunding infrastructure with no human interference. We are not a smart contract. We are better than a smart contract. And as you start to see this, I'm sure you're going to agree. Now, since everything is fully transparent, no middlemen, the code can never be changed. Nobody can come behind and say, you know what, Mark, I think you're making too much money. Let me play around with it a little bit so we can start cutting off some of the Bitcoin that you're accumulating. It can't be interfered with. Not even the creators can interfere with it because the code has been launched onto the blockchain. This is important because it means this project is going to go on without interruption. In fact, QTrex actually went out and put in place a 99-year clock, which just symbolically means we're going to run for a century. We're going to run forever. And I want you to remember that. If you're thinking about building something right now that's not just going to last for a week or a month or a year or a decade, but is going to outlast you, this is what you have to do. You have to put something together and then be a part of something where it's coded out into the blockchain. The only way that you can stop it is to turn off the entire internet. We know that's not going to happen. So we are actually sitting pretty. Now, QTrex is the world's first fully decentralized massive BTC matrix and mega unilevel system. That's what I'm going to share in the second half of this webinar. Fully transparent, private, fully automated, no human interference at all. And by the way, I'm going to say it one more time because this is a question that comes up over and over again. Bitcoin is going to arrive directly and instantly to you in seconds over and over again. At the end of every one of these webinars, someone says, so how do I get my money out? Get your money out of what? It's in your wallet. It's not being paid somewhere else. It's not sitting in the back office so you can look at it, but you can't touch it. It's in your blockchain wallet. Understand that. You got your money instantly. We never touched it. It's yours. You can do whatever you want with it. So let's talk about this. Who would like to accumulate massive amounts of Bitcoin? I'm just going to assume that everyone's hand is up right now, and we're going to talk about it. So let's discuss the opportunity and how you can get started. But before we do that, let's do some quick housekeeping. This webinar is provided for general information purposes only and does not constitute legal or professional advice. All content shared here is subject to change based on real-time world events affecting the cryptocurrency marketplace, which has been shown to be volatile, and changes can occur on a day-to-day basis. The information presented here is for purposes of illustration, and we accept no liability for market changes that are beyond our control. Guys, let me stop there because I love the legalese, but basically what it says is this. We're talking about going out and you acquiring Bitcoin. Obviously, we don't control the Bitcoin market. We are going to actually really benefit from it and dominate it, but we don't control it. And it is up to you to keep an eye on it. Like if you had started with us a couple of weeks ago, you would have probably got Bitcoin for about, and when Bitcoin was around 10.2, 10.3, now it's at 11.4. So that would have been a good thing. If you get started with us today, you can start to think about where you think Bitcoin is going to go and why getting it now is more important than anything else. QTrex is not an investment platform, does not sell or market securities, and it offers a global platform with the intention of empowering others regarding the cryptocurrency market, particularly Bitcoin. Your success depends on your skills, work ethic, and marketplace conditions. The developers and global affiliates do not guarantee any level of income or success, right? QTrex platform offers an opportunity and compensation plan for the people and by the people. I want you to keep and remember that last thing I just said. For the people and by the people. If you're writing, write that down, because everyone says that, but we've got something here with our QTrex compensation plan that shows we're the only company that actually means it and the only company that's really going out there and executing with it. So now listen, with QTrex, you can join for as little as $50 in Bitcoin, $50 US in Bitcoin, and up to 100,000 US dollars in Bitcoin. So anywhere from $50 to $100. So literally an opportunity for everyone. There is no cap with your earnings potential at all. And our aggressive compensation plan unlocks the doors of nonstop potential and possibilities. Again, with no limitations, and it's all earned directly to your wallet in seconds. So here we go. I want to go through some elements of this so you understand it. Then we're going to put it all together, and then we'll wrap up here for you. The first thing I want you to understand is that statement I just made about the packages anywhere from $50 to $100,000. Every single one of these packs, these QTrex packs, you can make a contribution for every single one of these packs. And all of these contributions that you make as you open up one of these packs is going to provide for you more and more leverage for how you can benefit from the QTrex community. You're going to notice it here in a second as we really start going through the compensation structure. But I just want you to understand we've got 13 different packs starting at Q1, which is $50, Q2, which is $75, and so on, all the way up to Q13, which is $100,000. You can actually come in anytime you want to and buy as many or as few of these packs as you want. I will show you why you want to actually have a strategy here in a moment, but you can actually buy as many or as few as you want, but you have to get them in order. You can't just come in and say, Q5 looks good, I'll start there. You have to have Q1, 2, 3, and 4 before you can actually get Q5, but you can do that all in the same day if you like, but you can't just start over here or over here. You have to get all the successive packages. For that reason, if you were actually going to buy multiple packages, I wanted to just show you what that looks like. If you're buying Q1, obviously the cumulative cost for Q1 is $50. Q2, you would have to get Q1 and Q2, so it's 125. Q3, you would have to get all three, so it's 250, and so on and so on. And I just showed you down through Q7, but this keeps going all the way up to Q13. It's actually a cumulative cost for you to do that. By the way, there was a QTrex annual maintenance fee of $33. It is annual. It's one time a year, and it's only $33. It's for that reason that you'll see in a lot of the marketing that's going out there, people saying you can actually, for $83, you can actually enter an opportunity that can change your life, because it's that $50 plus that one-time $33 for the year. That's $83. And for just $83, you can be in business here in QTrex and be prepared to go out there and put yourself into a serious position to generate some wealth. So let's get started talking about this so you can start to understand. The first thing I want you to understand is the split. So we showed you all those amounts, right? Anywhere from 50 up to 100K, doesn't matter. The one thing I want you to understand is we've got two halves of our compensation plan. One half is called the upper Q. The other half is called the lower Q, okay? Upper Q is going to be a unilevel. Lower Q is a 1x3 matrix. I'm going to explain to you everything that means here in a second, but what I want you to get is that every single contribution that comes into our community is going to instantly be split 50-50, 50% into the upper Q, 50% into the lower Q with no exceptions. Okay, so it doesn't matter if it's a person coming in that you referred who comes in just at the Q1 level for 50 bucks of Bitcoin. That's going to be $25 of Bitcoin going into your upper Q, $25 of Bitcoin to your lower Q, and that stays the same, 3750, 3750 if they come in here. Or even if somebody's upgrading now to the $100,000 in Bitcoin package at Q13, $50,000 worth of Bitcoin is going to go into your upper queue. 50,000 is going to go into your lower queue. You're going to see why in a moment. What I just said is amazing because of this upper queue payment that we're talking about, why you're going to be super excited about the fact that without exception, we put 50% into the upper, 50% into the lower, no matter how large the contribution is. The first thing I want to talk about to you now is the upper queue. We talked about that. Upper queue is our unilevel, and it gets 50% of every contribution that's coming in from your referrals. Now, here's what I want you to understand about a unilevel. This is all it means. Every single person that you refer is going to be what we call frontline to you. So in this example, we show you referring 10 people. All 10 people are straight across frontline to you. If you referred 100 people or 1,000 people or 1,000,000 people, you'd have 100 or 1,000 or 1,000,000 people straight across all frontline to you. That's the only thing you need to understand about what a unilevel is. They're all frontline to you. Now, the other thing to understand for our unilevel and our upper queue, we have two positions, the 3rd and the 10th spot. So the 3rd and the 10th person that you refer, the 3rd and the 10th, and only the 3rd and the 10th, their upper queue payments are actually going to pass up to your sponsor. Just the 3rd and the 10th. All the rest of them, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11 through a billion, they're all yours. But just the 3rd and the 10th are going to pass up to your sponsor. That is awesome in terms of leverage. And you might say, why would you get excited about giving up the 3rd and the 10th payments? By the way, you're not giving up the people. You're not giving up the 3rd and the 10th people. You're just giving up the 3rd and the 10th payments. That's an incredibly fine distinction, and it's important. And you're going to see that here in a second. The reason why you get excited about giving up the 3rd and the 10th payments from these people is because all of these people that you've referred, they're going to be giving up their 3rd and 10ths to you. So even though you gave up these 2 pass ups, we call them, you're going to get up to 20, what I like to call pull-ups, because you're pulling them up, and that's your reward for giving up just 2. So you gave up 2 to get 20. That is an amazing amount of leverage. And remember, that's it for you. You're only giving up the payments for the 3rd and the 10th. If you went out and you found 100 people, and we have people that are doing that, I know that Mark finds hundreds of people. If you're going to be able to do that, you're still only giving up the payments from the 3rd and the 10th. So every other person that you find from now until forever, not only are you getting all of their payments, but their 3rd and 10th, you're getting all of those payments as well. That's a massive leveraging component for our upper queue and our unilevel. The other thing I want you to understand about the upper queue, and this is where we start talking about the for the people, by the people, is that all of the Bitcoin in the upper queue, remember, it gets 50% of every single contribution. All of that Bitcoin coming in the upper queue, other than the pass ups, which we already talked about, are awesome, right? All of the other Bitcoin is all yours. Listen to this. Regardless of what level you are. Now, anybody who's ever been around any company like this, they know that I just said something big. For the rest of you, you might not get it. That's okay. You will here in a second. Let me show you what it looks like. Okay. Let's say this is you, and you were at the Q1 level. So you got started here. You paid this 50 bucks plus your 33, and you're a Q1, and you went out and you referred all 10 of these people. And you just decided for some reason to stay at Q1. And all of these people just went on about their business, building their business, just kept building. They're at all different levels. Well, let me show you something that's going to be amazing to you, even though you're only at Q1. Let's say that this guy, he's been out there building, and now he's actually gone all the way through Q1 through Q6, and now he's ready to upgrade to the Q7 level. Okay, that's $1,000 contribution now to upgrade to the Q7 level. 50% of which is going to come to the upper Q. That's $500 coming to the upper Q. Even though this person is upgrading to the Q7 level and you're only at Q1, that whole $500 is yours. Remember, all the Bitcoin. In fact, just to really drive this home, let's say this person's really been out there crushing it. They've gone all the way up to Q12. Now they're ready to upgrade to Q13. That's $100,000 in Bitcoin to upgrade to Q13. That's 50% of that. 50,000 is coming into the upper Q. That's all yours. Even though you stayed at Q1, you never bought any more of these packages, you never put any more contributions in to get these additional packages, you're still going to be able to benefit in all of the money in the upper Q except for the pass ups. And again, pass ups are awesome because they come with a whole lot of pull ups. So that's going to be good for you as well. So that's our upper Q. Think about this. Everybody else says for the people, by the people. None of them have a component like this. Every one of them is set up to make sure that the little guy gets nothing. We didn't want that to happen. We wanted to set you up so regardless of where you were, regardless of where you were getting started, you were going to still have an opportunity to make and earn a significant amount of Bitcoin. We're the only company that's done that. Now, in the lower Q, which I'm about to share with you, you can only benefit from their chosen levels of packages of participation. So it's different from the upper Q. So you can join any or all packages. I showed you that already, but you must join the packages lower than you to actually qualify to select higher levels in the upper Q, in the lower Q, I should say. So you can't just join 5. You got to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So let me show you what the lower Q looks like. First of all, it's a 1x3 matrix, 50%. The other 50%, so we showed you the 50 that's going in the upper Q. The other 50% comes here into the lower Q, this 1x3 matrix. I know a lot of you understand what a matrix is. You've worked in lots of companies with them, but please, for the other leaders on here that have never experienced this before, bear with me here for just 1 second to go through this. 1x3 matrix simply means you're the first spot in there. It's a 1, and then it's going to have 3 spots of people that are going to actually come into the first person that you actually refer. They're going to be the first person in your matrix. You're going to actually earn that 50%. So that 50% that comes in, whatever it is, 500, 1,000, 50,000, whatever, that's going to go to you. The second person, that payment's also going to go to you. But that third payment, anytime it's in yellow, that means it's going to actually pass up somewhere else. That third payment, that's going to go up to your sponsor, and it's going to do what we call cycle you. In other words, you only had 3 spots. They're now filled up. A cycle simply means that you've earned 2, you've passed up 1 to your sponsor. Now you're going to actually start over with a brand new matrix. You simply follow your sponsor to their next available spot, and you have 3 empty spots again in your matrix, and you just keep it going. So the 4th person, 5th person, 6th, etc. You just keep getting new matrices. Every time you get a third one, it passes up, cycles you, you get a whole new matrix, and you keep it moving. That's the lower Q. Now, what I want you to understand again is you can only benefit in the lower Q from your chosen package levels of participation. This is why a lot of people choose to go out and for a leveraging purpose, they want to get to as high of a spot as they can get. Let me show you this. The lower Q gets 50%. The 1x3 matrix and the lower Q are synonymous. It's the same thing. But let me just show you. Let's say you went out and you just got started at that Q1 like we said before. All that does is open up a Q1 matrix for you. What that means is if you start referring people and they're coming at this Q1 level, half of that, half of 50 is $25. You'll get the first person you refer at Q1, you'll get $25 here. That's yours. Second person, $25 here. That's yours. Third person, $25 here, goes up to your sponsor, cycles you. You get a new Q1 matrix, and you can keep benefiting from all your Q1 referrals. However, what do you think happens if somebody says, hey, I want to come in at the Q2 level? Well, the problem for you is you don't have a Q2 matrix. So the 50% of this $75, it has nowhere to go as far as you're concerned. So it goes to someone else who actually does have that matrix. And that's the same thing with the Q3, 4, 5, 6, etc. That's why most people are going to come in and they're going to purchase multiple packages right out of the gate and get multiple matrices right out of the gate, in this case Q1 through Q5, because they want to leave as little money on the table as possible. This way, no matter whether they're referring somebody in Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, or Q5, they're getting all of those 50% payments into one of their matrices, and they're earning that money. Okay, they don't want to leave it on the table for someone else. That's why people who get it, they're not staying at Q1, they're going up as high as they can. They eventually want to get to Q13, so now they're having those $100,000 days, if that makes sense to you. And that's where all the excitement is coming from and the buzz is coming from as people are moving up and up. $5,000 days, $10,000 days, $20,000 days, etc. And I have it on good information that here within another week to 2, we're going to have people at this Q13 level set up to get $100,000 days. So that's pretty amazing what's happening here in terms of speed. Now, the lower Q also has something called spill up. And what I love about this is it is a reward for you going out and introducing this as quickly as you can to the sharpest people that you can. Let's say you get started and the only thing that you do is you go out and find Joe. Joe's a stud. Joe's never heard of QTrex. You have Joe watch a webinar like this. Joe gets it. He gets started. Joe's even better at this than you are. So before you can even do anything else, Joe goes and does what Joe does, and he just goes to work, right? And Joe goes and says, okay, I got a person. I'm going to introduce them. That person takes up the first position in Joe's matrix. He introduces the second person. He gets paid that, but then he introduces that third person. Remember that yellow, that third person that he's going to introduce, their payment goes up to Joe's sponsor, your Joe's sponsor. So now Joe's got himself paid twice. He got you paid again, though, because he actually got the third person. Now that cycles Joe, and he now needs to open up a new matrix. So where's he going to go? His next position, he's always following his sponsor, right? Your next position open is your second position, and there's nobody there. So Joe pops back into your matrix. Now he's taken up your first two positions. So he's not two people. He's just taken up two positions. Joe goes out and finds a fourth person. He gets paid again. And a fifth person, he gets paid again. But then he finds a sixth person up to his sponsor. That's you. You get paid again. So Joe's getting you paid over and over again, but you haven't done anything extra except you found Joe, and Joe was a stud. That cycles him. He actually now has to go to the next position available. That's your third position. Well, now Joe has all three positions in your matrix, right? Now here's where it gets great. Joe now takes up the third position in your matrix. That cycles you, goes up to your sponsor. So guess what? Joe's getting himself paid and earning Bitcoin. He's getting you paid and earning Bitcoin. He just got your sponsor paid and earned him or her some Bitcoin. Your sponsor is saying, who is Joe? I don't know, but go, Joe. You guys get it? This is incredible, right? And now when you cycle, because that was your third position, just for board size, I'm going to put it down here. You got a whole new matrix that's going to open up. Joe keeps at it. He finds a seventh person. He gets paid. An eighth person, he gets paid. A ninth person, that now goes up to you. You get paid again. Joe's popping into the next position in your new matrix, and that just keeps going on over and over and over again. There's a Joe right now on this webinar who in a short period of time has already gotten dozens and dozens and dozens of referrals into this community. So you can imagine that this is not just a theoretical example. This is going on right now. You know what's better than having Joe doing all this? Having 5 or 6 Joes doing all this, 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 Joes doing all this. This is why people have Bitcoin coming out of their ears. They don't even know where it's coming from because they don't even understand how just a handful of people that are leaders are going out and moving so fast, even faster than them, but they're still benefiting from all that growth because of this incredible spill up feature. Now, the next thing is that the upper and lower queue both operate simultaneously. Guys, we're almost wrapped up here, but I love this. This to me is almost like the final exam. It's like, did you put it all together? You know, it's all split into 50-50. It's packages of this, et cetera, et cetera. So let's take a look at them operating simultaneously. So this is you. We're going to actually use for this example, people upgrading to the Q7 level, which is the $1,000 level. So if they were already at Q6, just to upgrade to Q7, it would cost them $1,000 in Bitcoin. They would have to put in as a contribution to move up to that Q7 level. This is your upper queue, the unilevel. This is your lower queue where you got your Q7 matrix. So your first person, they decide to upgrade. They come up here, 50%, that's $500. That's all you. Okay. They also take up the first position in your Q7 matrix. That's another $500 all to you. So now you can see it's operating together. If this was Mike, this is Mike's half of Mike's payment. This is the other half of Mike's payment contribution, and you're getting both of them. You just earned $1,000 of that contribution. Your second person, that could be Sue. Sue comes in there. She's going to be the second person in your unilevel. That $500, that goes to you. She's the second position down here in your Q7 matrix as well. That $500 goes to you as well. You just got 100% of that contribution as well. Now, look at the third person. The third person here is your pass up to your sponsor, okay? So that's going to go to the sponsor. And down here, that third person also happens to be the third person in this matrix. That's going to go up to the sponsor as well, right? We love this, though, because it means the same thing is happening with your people. Remember, for every pass up, you're getting pull-ups, right? But that cycles you down here, and it opens up a whole new Q7 matrix for you, okay? So now the fourth person comes in, that's going to be $500 up here. That's the first position in this new matrix. That's another $500. You get $1,000 of that. Fifth person, same thing. You get $1,000 of that, upper and lower, 5 and 5. And then when the sixth person comes in, remember up here, your sixth person is not a pass up. So you get that $500, but down here, that sixth person is the third position in your new matrix. That gets passed up to your sponsor. It cycles you. You get a whole new Q7 matrix, and the beat goes on. Guys, most of the times you're getting 100% of the contribution. Some of the times you're getting 50. And on a rare occasion, when it's going to come in as a 3 or 3, that's pass up to your sponsor. But again, that's also going to be the pull-ups as well. So you've got Bitcoin coming from every single direction. You can't keep track of it, even though it's all listed there in your back office. You can go through a forensic analysis and you can see it. But as your balance just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and more momentum picks up, it gets crazy what's happening. Final thing I'm going to tell you is this, because you're going to all of a sudden see some Bitcoin popping up to you with some names that you don't recognize at all. This is why. In the lower queue, you can be paid through infinite levels in your lower queue. Let me give you a scenario, okay? You're at the Q7 level. You went out and found Joe. Let's say this Joe, he only found one person. So you're at Q7. Joe said, I'm getting started at Q1, $50 level. Okay, great. Joe only finds one person, Jim, who also gets started at the Q1 level. Jim finds Sue, who also gets started at Q1 level, but Sue finds Bob. Remember, I said find people that are better and moving faster than you. She finds Bob. Bob says, look, I don't know what you guys are doing. I saw the webinar. I understand. I don't want to leave anything on the table. The highest level I can afford to get started at right now is Q5. So Bob starts off at Q5, where he comes up and he actually purchases all 5 of these packages right out the gate. Now, remember, again, you have to get them all. You're purchasing all of them. The cumulative total for purchasing Q5 is $1,000. Okay, $1,000 gets you all 5 of these packages. 50% of that, $500, comes into the lower queue. This is what our system does. It says, okay, well, 50% came in a lower queue. We have to pay that out. So who are we paying that out to? Well, let's look at Bob's sponsor. Sue is only at Q1. You can only benefit in the lower queue from your chosen package levels of participation. She's only at Q1. That's her chosen package level of participation. Q1 is a $50 level. 50% of that is $25. She only qualifies for $25 of that $500. We got $475 left over that we need to pay out. We look at Jim. Jim, what are you doing? Q1, already paid that. You get 0. Joe, Q1, already paid that. You get 0. Gets to you. You're at Q7, which means you have packages Q2, Q3, Q4, Q5, et cetera, et cetera. So all of that remaining 475, that's popping up to you. Now, you never met Bob. You may never meet Bob. That's okay, because this isn't just 3 levels deep. This could have been 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 levels deep if people have not put themselves in position. But you have, you can have these Bitcoin contributions coming to you from infinite levels. And I just gave you with one person. This could have been any, it could have been Kim, could have been anyone else. And it starts coming up and you're going to see all these amazing contributions coming out. That's where it gets crazy at. Again, Bitcoin coming from every direction. So what do you think the strategy is, right? This is the final exam, pop quiz. What's the strategy? Race to the top. Guys, get started as high as you can, then recapitalize your position for more leverage. What does recapitalize means? It means if you can get started at Q1, that's as high as you can get started is Q1. So you make an $83 decision to get started and you pay the $50 here plus the 33 annual, and then you got $83 and now you're in at the package Q1. Go out and find as many people as you can. You might find somebody who can come in and say, hey, I can come in and I can put $1,000 in. Remember, you're going to get half of that in your upper queue. So you get $500 in your upper queue, and your lower queue, you'll get another $25 because you have the Q1 in the lower queue. So you'll get half of that as well. So you get $525. What should you do with that $525? Go out and buy up some more packages. So next time you're not leaving half on the table, right? And you just keep recapitalizing all the way up to Q13, because now you're going to be in position to have $100,000 days. In fact, as you have more and more people that are coming on board and multiple people upgrading to Q13 at the same day, you're having several $100,000 Bitcoin days. That's how people are setting themselves up right now. And the reason why they're doing it is because they're jumping on this now to get the maximum amount of leverage. Right now, they're saying it's time to engage and take massive action. Do not wait. I know a lot of people have bought into that old lie that good things come to those who wait. Guys, here's the truth. It's usually just the scraps that are left over by those who hustle. That is an absolute fact. Stop waiting. Seriously, stop waiting. Unless you're currently being paid to serve other people food, stop being a waiter. It's time to get started. And I'm being really serious about this because I talked to someone today and they were giving me this, man, I don't know, man, let's wait and see how it goes and everything. And all I could think about was that I know in my family tree, I don't want to speak for everybody else, but I know a lot of people can echo this sentiment. There's a lot of people in our family trees who have literally procrastinated themselves to poverty. Don't be the next one. This is a serious pathway to profits, man. An $83 decision that can change your life. And I said it before, listen, if you don't have the $83, here's what you need to do. Whatever your device is that you're watching this webinar on right now, your phone, your computer, sell that. Sell that, get the $83, get in QTrex, earn some serious Bitcoin, and then buy another one, a better one. Upgrade your device while at the same time upgrading your life. You can do that here with QTrex. So listen, this is how we're going to get started. Step one, secure and sign up for your own Bitcoin wallet to send and receive Bitcoin payments. Every wallet does not accept Bitcoin, so make sure you pick one that does. We use as an example blockchain.com. It's fast. It works perfectly with our system. You can get your Bitcoin immediately when you're making your payments to go up your different levels. It happens instantly, so it's awesome. Always double check your Bitcoin wallet address before placing it in the back office. This is the blockchain. So once you set that wallet, you can't change that wallet. So here's my biggest suggestion. Don't do this on your own. I know you got some pros out there, crypto heads. I'm talking to you. I know you guys are superstars. You're pros, but just get in the habit of doing this with the person who brought you to the table, just so they can make sure they point out every little thing so you don't have to be sad later when you made a mistake that is not changeable. You cannot change the blockchain. So make sure you go back there, you work with the people that you're working with. They can walk you through it. Again, in the US, we found that blockchain.com works perfectly, or internationally, blockchain.com works a lot of places, but in some countries, it's Coinami. Guys, you can find the ones that work best for you, but you shouldn't have to look for this on your own. Consult the person who invited you. They can actually get you started. They can make sure you're actually making sure you got your passwords, your emails, everything, so you're not having any problems. And then always communicate with your team. If you can do this as a team effort, if you can basically talk to the people who invited you and you say, hey, I'm about to upgrade, what's up? And they say, okay, cool, let me upgrade. So everybody's just upgrading at the same time, staying ahead of what's going on. You're all getting up to big player status, okay? You can have big player potential without big player pockets at the time, but you can still get the big player status if you just work a strategy in the team. Don't think of it like a lottery, recapitalize your positions. You guys are gonna do awesome. Now, secure and deposit enough Bitcoin to cover the amount needed for your desired package levels and the QTrex maintenance, and you can start rocking and rolling. Somebody asked me earlier today, he said, listen, I hear what you're saying, man. I can start as low as the $50 plus the $33 monthly, but what if I don't even have $83? If that's you and you're on this webinar right now and you're thinking that you can't be here, think again. Here's what you do. Go to McDonald's, get that job, work, get that $83, quit that job. Tell everybody that the reason why you're quitting is because you found a better way called QTrex. Some of them will laugh, but some of them will sign up with you. Recapitalize your position over and over and over and over again. Get to the top. Make a ridiculous amount of Bitcoin. Go back to McDonald's. Buy that McDonald's. Fire all the people who laughed at you. You can do that. I'm telling you right now, you can definitely do that. So get started now on your QTrex journey. You go to getstartedtraining.com. We walk you through everything, making sure there's no mistakes, that your entree is going to be as smooth as possible. Listen, I told you earlier, I was going to try to give you as much as I could from a high level. If you have questions, that's great. Get back to the person who invited you on. But if this makes enough sense to you, I promise you, you want to go out and you want to clarify the picture, because you don't want to miss this. This is going to be, for years to come, the #1 Bitcoin accumulation company and strategy that has ever existed. You don't want to miss it, especially when you have an opportunity to be on the ground floor right now in the middle of our leadership launch.